Hey everyone, welcome to the Industry Show. I'm your host Nitin Bajaj, and joining me today is Mahavir Sharma. Mahavir, welcome on the show.
Thank you, Nitin. Pleasure to be here.
Pleasure is all ours. So let's get started with who is Mahavir?
Oh, well, Mahavir is any other ordinary person, an entrepreneur at heart. Been doing this for 30 some years, dabbled into many places, always loving art, crafts, culture, and carpets and jewelry, technology, and enabling tools to bring the world together, to make sure that there's more and more entrepreneurs, to make sure that there's more and more ways where we can bridge the gap between geographies. And I've been at it not only in one sphere, but multiple areas, multiple domains, working with multiple people, and always a pleasure to be connected.
You have, and through multiple geographies. And we are really looking forward to hearing a little more about that. Now that we know who Mahavir is, we'd love to play a little game about these themes that are impacting us as a community. In one word, underrated or overrated. You ready? Let's do this.
Mhm.
Stock market prices.
Overrated.
Okay. DEI.
Um, Underrated.
Okay. Startup valuations.
Overrated in the US, underrated in India.
Okay. The metaverse.
Overrated.
What about cash?
Underrated.
Okay. The great resignation.
Overrated.
Okay. What about stakeholder capitalism?
Um, I think it's underrated.
Okay. Crypto.
Overrated.
Okay. Real estate prices.
Overrated.
Okay. NFT.
Underrated.
Okay. And inflation.
Inflation is underrated.
Okay. Mahavir, that was fun. Now let's talk about something that's more personal to you. Tell us what is RAIN, what's its mission, and the impact.
So Rain was founded about 8, 9 years ago
Mhm.
with the intention of helping startups at a very early stage, idea stage. We felt that Jaipur and Rajasthan was lagging behind Bangalore's of India to be invested in, and obviously, if local ownership or local investment does not happen, the local ecosystem will not thrive. And so that's what our intentions were. We started to invest. The first 4 or 5 startups were from Rajasthan. A couple died, but 3, 4 did very well. We've already had an exit in 2 of them. And we continued to see that there was growth in Rajasthan. There was interest in Rajasthan. More and more people wanted to be in the startup ecosystem. But we realized that as Rajasthan Angels or RAIN, we need to go across India. And so we started to, invest outside of Rajasthan also. But the intention was very, very noble to help very early stage, idea stage companies so that they can grow and create an entrepreneurial ecosystem, because most other networks and funds were looking at them at pre-series A or even a little growth and post POC stage. So I think we were in the right niche, and I think we've invested in about 16 to 18 companies, and we continue to evolve as we speak.
So it sounds like you are helping entrepreneurs before revenue, pre-product market fit. Is that accurate?
At times they are, yes, on idea stage and prototype. We've done that earlier on. Now we've evolved a little bit. We do need some validation unless there's an IP situation, a possible IP situation. We do need validation revenue at this point.
In terms of the size of the portfolio, what would you say it is at right now, and where would you project it over the next year, 2 or 3?
Rain is a collective of 30 people
Okay.
who invested. I think we collectively invested about a couple of million in those. And at that stage, a couple of million matters a lot because it's lots of
Yes.
small checks,
Mhm.
and some in a follow-on round also. But individually, and out of that, I had a major share of investments, but individually also I continued to invest alongside other possibilities of startups that came to me that were outside the domain of Rain. At multiple platforms, there's a televised show, there's
Mhm.
TIE that I have invested through. There is, individual people reach out to me on LinkedIn and stuff, and I have, kind of invest. So my portfolio is almost about 3 to 4 million at this point of time individually, and that's growing. And we're thinking of launching a fund, in India, outside India, but investing into India. So it's the scale is huge. The impact has been great, and obviously the return on investments have been great. So we're moving one step at a time from a network to multiple networks and multiple platforms to now a fund, but investing and focused on India.
Mahavir, you yourself are a big network. I know several portfolios that you have. One is with Rain, one is with Thai Angels, Horses Stable, and then some that you do on your own. I don't know how you keep track of all of these. Makes me want to think, what is your biggest challenge?
Time. I think when you're spread too far, you spread yourselves thin, and certain things do get overlooked, and your mainline businesses sometimes don't get enough time. And though I'm very good at time management, I don't commit what I cannot deliver, or I'm always punctual. It's just that I have to follow a very strict regime, and at times certain businesses or times family does end up suffering because of travels and all these virtual calls, etc., etc.
Well, thanks again for making the time for us. We really appreciate it.
No, no. Part of the deal is to reach out to as many people to, encourage them, inspire them
Yes,
to do. All of us collectively have to do it. I mean, one individual or few individuals cannot achieve what we want to achieve.
so true. Very well said. Challenges bring opportunities. What is the biggest opportunity you are targeting right now?
Oh, in terms of investments, there are multiple. Every investment that I make, I always feel very optimistic and positive about it. Otherwise, I don't make that investment. But overall, I think India is poised to grow. I think India, as a startup theory ecosystem, is world's third largest,
Mhm.
but it's undervalued in my opinion. When I look at valuations and startups and stages that they are outside of India, and the valuations that they're getting and the kind of funds that they're getting, I think India has a huge opportunity. And I think I'm very positive that India in the next 5 years will absolutely be a startup thriving, returns of more than 30 to 35% per annum at least. Also, this will enable India to be a huge technology hub, and you will see innovative startups and ideas, not just service sector or back-end support kind of ideas coming out of India. And that'll help India not only on technology, but manufacturing, and enable India's agriculture, ESG, based startups, and also enable digital economy across rural India. And the over hyped or underhyped cash will cease to exist, and India will grow at a much double-digit growth rate, because people will then be paying some way or the other indirect taxes, in which India deserves, and that needs to be reinvested into India and development of India. So I think I'm very optimistic about India,
Mhm.
and that's my um, story going forward.
I think two major things have happened in the last few years. One is the cultural acceptance of entrepreneurship, which has given us a boost in the right direction. The other, like you said, is not just having a service focused mindset for entrepreneurship, it's really driving for innovation and having that product mindset, which has really been missing in the first few years.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I mean, I think, and everyone has to be credited for that. I think the ecosystem has collectively thrived.
Right.
The environment has improved, policies have improved, investors and money has come in, and successful ideas have reached out to the masses. I think absolutely, totally in agreement with what you just said.
And thanks no less to leaders like you who have helped navigate us in the right direction. The Prime Minister of India recently announced National Startup Day, which I think plays a really positive role in moving the psyche and that cultural acceptance of entrepreneurship.
Absolutely, and I think organizations like TIE, which have strong inroads at the bottom of the pyramid, are absolutely the reason why I'm here, or I
Mhm.
have learned or achieved so much, and it's a huge effort by a huge number of volunteers like me who are not being paid, but they're doing a lot more than what others would do.
So true. And thanks again. And as we look forward, Mahavir, would love to look back and see if there was a time, an instance where things really didn't work out as you had planned and it ended up becoming a lesson for you.
Um, it's not that I have not I've succeeded all the time. I've failed many times.
Yeah.
I think I have invested wrong. I have started my own businesses that did not work, and I did regret, and I learned. One thing for sure hasn't been a great success for me is the fact that if you start to do many things yourself and you don't learn to delegate both the power
Mhm.
to execute and to execute, you would definitely fail, because if when people think of singularly doing stuff for themselves or by themselves, it will always be a challenge. So
Mhm.
it's always great to have a good team. It's always great to give empower people. It's always great to give responsibilities to people after you empower them, rather than making them responsible without giving them the decision taking power. So I think that's what I have definitely learned and evolved, and I have now following that to the T.
Is there a success story you're really proud of and would love to show off?
Ah, it's an ongoing story. I personally feel I get the most gratification not by investing or not by making money, but when I'm mentoring startups, and when I respond to them on social media or one-on-one or emails, and I feel that I have made an iota of a difference to their startup or their idea or their team or them personally. It just gives me huge amount of happiness and gratification. And I think that those are all many successful stories. And I was telling someone, someone said that how many companies have you mentored? And I said I do at least two mentoring companies a week. So, and I've been doing it for 8 some years, so you do the maths on an average. And I will continue to do that, because and everyone does not succeed, everyone does not become a startup, and I tell them you will not. But it works for them to improve themselves and their perspective on various stuff.
Mahavir, one thing I've really appreciated about you since I've known you all these years is that you're so humble, so down to earth, so approachable. You take requests from strangers on social media. You're there for them to help them, to guide them, to coach them, despite your extremely busy schedule. Thank you for your service to the entrepreneurial community, for giving your time, for giving the resources, for sharing the knowledge and wisdom you have accumulated over these past few years, investing in and mentoring so many companies. Thanks a lot.
It's a pleasure. It gives me enough reason and energy to do that, and I'm happy that I'm doing that. Thank you.
Now, on to my favorite part of the show, one line life lessons. These life lessons are short, simple, but extremely profound and often life changing. Mahavir, we would love to hear some one line life lessons from you.
Live every day. Don't
Mhm.
wait for tomorrow or the weekend or the summer. Um, it's not going to come back. Never regret. Always take a decision that you feel is right at that point of time. You could be wrong, you could be right. Don't worry, because that was the best thing that you could have done at that point of time with your abilities. Um, Always be willing to listen more than you can speak. Keep learning. Life, there's so much in the world that you need to learn, and you learn more while you teach. You get more while you share. So don't stop sharing. Don't stop teaching. because that will make you learn far more, and the teachings will stay with you for life. I can go on and on, but these are the most immediate ones that I can
Mhm.
think of. Yeah.
Mahavir, thank you so much for sharing those one-line life lessons. And for our audience, we have an entire collection on onelifelessons.com and wherever you socialize digitally. Mahavir, thank you once again for being with us. We would love to bring you back on, talk about more successes, more lessons. We really appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, and it would be a pleasure to be online again. Thank you, Nitin.